You're watching the Fox 5 Morning News at 7.
Nearly 2/3 of millennials have buyer's remorse after purchasing a home. Financial expert Chase Wilsey is here to explain. Chase, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
All right, why the buyer's remorse? What's causing this?
You know, I think a lot of times millennials, they'll kind of rush into home ownership.
Yeah.
And what that leads to is a lot of unforgotten things that can kind of come up when you're living in a house. A lot of unforeseen expenses. I mean, a lot of people just kind of look at, well, I just have this mortgage. There's really a lot more that goes into it than just the mortgage. I mean, you have to look at the cost of insurance. You have to look at the property tax. Can't forget about those taxes. The government, they want their money as well.
There's a lot.
And then also a big one is maintenance expenses. I mean, HGTV, you know, a great TV show there, or station, they say estimate about 1 to 3% of the housing price and maintenance costs on an annual basis.
Wow. Things can always go wrong. Home ownership, the first thing you learn is just how much money you have to spend to upkeep and maintain and make sure everything works properly. I like how you mentioned they want to rush into buying. Why the rush? Is it because they get a good job and just because they can, or what?
Well, I think a lot of times people rush into it because they look at it and say, you know, it's the right financial decision. You always hear it's so smart to buy a home, so you just kind of feel pressured into it. I think some other things too, I talk about HGTV. They make it look so fun,
and
so easy.
Half an hour, you get a house and you
oh, it's beautiful. Easy.
Doesn't work that way in real life.
Doesn't work that way.
Did baby boomers and Gen Xers, did they go through the similar feelings when they bought homes, or is this a generational thing?
Well, you know, I look at the price of home ownership, and it's actually increased quite substantially. So I see it a little bit less in the other generations. And actually, if you look at the same survey, about Gen Xers, 50% say they have a little bit of buyer's remorse, and 33% for baby boomers. And back when baby boomers were buying, I mean, they're pretty much almost paid off. I think they're in the, not the honeymoon phase, but they're pretty much in that retirement phase where I'm good now.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah, finally, because it takes a long time for that. What role does we always bring up social media, especially with millennials. They kind of grew up, a lot of them have grown up now with social media the last 10 to 15 years. What role does that play in all of this?
You know, I think social media actually plays a pretty large role for the millennial generation. I mean, you look at Facebook, not so much Facebook anymore for millennials, but, you know, Instagram's quite popular. You see your friends buying, you see, you know, am I getting left behind? I almost kind of equate it to the game of life. And I remember
it's
being
keeping
a kid.
up with the Joneses, but it's on your phone or on Instagram, right? You see they're doing it, you should do it.
Exactly, and I think you're kind of trying to move that car along, and what's the next step in life? Oh, buy a home. Right. So you feel like you're maturing, but in reality, it might not always be the best decision.
Okay, so here's the big question, especially for folks here in San Diego, buy or rent. So after all this discussion, what's the right decision for each individual person, and how do you find out what's right for you?
You know, I think there's a lot that goes into it. I mean, there's the financial aspect, of course, and the way I kind of look at the financial aspect is you look at the price to rent ratio. And what that is you take the median price and you divide it by the median annual income or median annual rent that you can generate from that home. And that's kind of a good proxy to see how expensive it is to actually own a home. Here in San Diego, it's about 30 times. Oof. You compare that to a place like Houston, Texas, about 15 times. Now, what that means in Houston, Texas, far more effective to buy a home. Here in San Diego, it's actually more efficient to rent.
Isn't that
Doesn't mean there's not going to be pockets of opportunity, however. It just means you got to do the financial research to see what's right.
And for San Diego, that's not going to change anytime soon, because San Diego, as far as real estate, it is what it is, and that's what we have.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's other things that go into it too. I mean, sometimes people just want to buy a home, right? I mean, you want to make it your own, but you have to make sure you have the financial wherewithal to actually do so, and you have to be patient, take the time to do the research, understand what the commute's going to look like, understand what the community is. Don't just kind of see it on social media and say, all right, let's go buy a home.
I love that. Do your research. Talk to people, talk to the experts. Chase Wilsey, we thank you so much for the insight. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Your morning weather, sponsored